You might be doing SEO the wrong way, especially for a B2B SaaS. And I just wanted to make a real quick video showing you some of the ways that you can go about tweaking your strategy, some of the things that you'll probably want to avoid when you're doing SEO, and just a few ways that you can improve your strategy to really focus on the things that actually matter. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the common things that I see SaaS companies doing wrong and what they need to do to correct it. The first thing that I'm going to start off with is avoiding talking about your product or just going after any type of keyword that's associated with your product. So in some cases with a SaaS, I'll see that they'll pretty much cover like any topic that's under the moon. They'll cover topics that are about, let's say if it's a product management software, they'll talk about what is product management, they'll talk about HR, they'll talk about finance, they'll talk about marketing. Really, when you have a specific use case of your product, you really don't want to cast a wide net with your content. You want to be very specific with the type of content topics that you want to go after. So the way I usually describe this is doing the people describe it as the 80-20 or the 20-80 rule. So for any topics that you go after, you really want to focus on the topics that are only going to take, if you can envision all of the topics on your website, you really only want to go after the top 20% that will drive 80% of results for us. In most cases, that's just going to be bottom of funnel content, middle of funnel content. And when I'm talking specifically about keywords that are associated with your product, that's almost traditionally going to be middle of the funnel type of content. So I have User Pilot here as an example. I think they're one of the top SaaS companies when it comes to content marketing, where they're pretty much firing on every cylinder, especially with SEO, content, product led content. And you can see when you look at their solutions, they have a solution for user onboarding, they have a solution for product adoption, customer retention, growth. And when you come to their blog, each category is dedicated to a specific feature of their solution. I believe user onboarding is probably their top option. When you actually look at this content, if you look at like customer onboarding checklists, in some cases they're actually going to mention specific features of their product. Maybe not in this case since it's more of a checklist, but if you come up to this article over here, best SaaS onboarding experiences, this is really when they're going to take a deeper dive into their product and show you what their product is capable of. So one, you're building out content that revolves around the use case of your product, and then at the same time, you're using this article to basically show how your product can be used as a solution for this specific type of topic. So in the case of how to onboard clients for SaaS, this whole article is basically dedicated to showing you how you can use User Pilot as a solution for onboarding. Another mistake that I typically see companies make is also just over optimizing their content, really taking away from the value of someone actually reading this and just getting any value from this content. If this article is based on 12 employee retention strategies, it's going to be importance of employee retention, reasons employee leaves, actionable employee retention strategies, and there's not really anything that's engaging me to read this. It's all condensed into paragraphs. It's not helpful for readability. If I'm looking for employee retention strategies, I want specific actions that are action items that I can take that will help me understand what I can do to basically retain my employees. So, in the case of these specific actionable strategies, optimize the onboarding process, provide workplace perks. What are those perks that we should be adding? Focus on employee wellness. How specifically should we be focusing on employee wellness? So, I guess the thing you want to focus on here is it's not just about SEO. You want to focus on the person who is reading your content. So, think about, yes, you want to optimize so Google will actually be able to rank your content and people will be able to find it through organic search. But at the same time, you want people to actually read this content and come away with some kind of a positive impression of your brand. And taking this a step further, this is going to be point number three, is actually not optimizing your content enough. Yeah, funny enough, obviously, what I'm saying here is basically to strike a balance between optimizing for search engines, but also optimizing for readers. And this is going back to what I previously said for the other article, but in this case, it's the same thing. It's not really, one, it's not really optimized for the human, and it's not really optimized for search engines at the same time. If I was optimizing this article for a search engine, I would basically make sure that this was fully fleshed out on strategies to retain your employees. It should be filled with images, it should be filled with statistics, it should be filled with like cited work, and basically every section needs to be specific to the person that's actually reading this article. So it can't just be a general statement like recognition and rewards. You can't just say what you should be doing, you need to say how you should be doing it. And I think that's something that most companies get twisted up when they're doing content marketing, especially SEO. They think, okay, we just need to create the content and then we'll insert keywords into that content and then basically we'll start ranking. That's honestly not the way to do it at all. It's been a completely different playing field for a couple years now. And if you want to get the most impact from your content, the best thing you can do is align your content for the person who's actually reading your article. So in this case, if I'm coming to this article, I want to make sure that this is as specific as possible. And what you want to focus on is the level of detail. So you want to be as specific and detailed as possible with your content. You want to provide examples. You want to show people how you can retain your employees. Just anything that will give the reader a better idea of basically what action item they should take. Basically, if I were to create a piece of content on how to retain employees, we always suggest that you should take a look at what's already ranking on the SERPs just to see what Google is finding relevant for that particular topic, what people are covering within their content. But really, the one thing you'll also want to look for is how is everyone else, what is everyone else actually covering in their content? Is it just generic content where everyone's basically copying each other and saying the same thing? Or is there an article that's really, yes, saying what you need to know, but then taking it a step further to really cover the details that just haven't been covered before? When you're creating your content, make sure that it is optimized for SEO, but also optimized for the person reading it. Make sure it's going to be better than what's already ranking out there. Take it a step further than what's already out there, and really just don't copy what's already out there. When you're writing this content, make sure you feel proud about it. So basically what I'm saying is just focus on the actual quality of your content. Don't half-ass it, basically. For the fourth tip, don't be afraid to mention your competitors. That's honestly a big issue that I see most SaaS companies take when they're doing SEO. They think that they shouldn't be mentioning their competitors. They think they're giving them free promotion. And honestly, that's not the case at all. I will say from personal experience that those topics that mention your competitors in some way are going to be the topics that actually drive the most conversions for us. Those are going to be the bottom of the funnel topics that we'll want to go after. And usually, the ones that I typically recommend either going to be category content, which is basically what I have pulled up here, alternative content, where let's say if you're like Zapier alternatives, you would list yourself as that main alternative. And then we also have comparison content, where if you're looking for a project management tool, you could have an article that's dedicated to Asana versus Trello. If you're Trello, you'd basically explain why you guys consider yourselves to be the better product compared to Asana. But I will say in these cases, especially with bottom of the funnel content, these work really well because people are already aware with your products and your solutions. They already know that they need a specific type of solution. They know that your competitors have that solution. And basically, we're just positioning ourselves within that category. Is bottom of funnel, middle of funnel, top of the funnel, they're not really aware of their pain point. They're not really aware a solution exists that they need. With middle of the funnel, yes, maybe they understand that they have a problem. This is where we allow them to become solution aware, that our type of product is a solution that they can use for their specific problem. And then, of course, with bottom of funnel content, they already know they have the problem and they already know, okay, there's a specific type of solution that I can use for this problem. So, in the case of bottom of funnel content, you're basically showing why they should consider you to be that best value product or best value solution for what they need. So if they need a project management software, it's basically showing them, okay, this is why you should choose me over the competition. And the reason it works so well is because the user is already this close to making their final decision. So basically, we're just giving them some final ammunition to really consider us. So they're already close to that point of conversion, so we're just ushering them along to make that next decision. So, in the case of mentioning your competitors, one thing I always recommend is usually just going after, I'm going to use category content in this sense, and these guys are always going to mention their competitors. Basically, what they're doing is they understand the category behind their product. Like Hive, they have a task management software, and they're basically creating a roundup of that category and listing themselves as that best option within that category. Obviously, they're still going to have to mention other competitors because they still need to do a roundup of everyone within that category. But you can see with Hive is that they list themselves as number one. Number one is Hive. We are the best task management software. If you go to Fellow App, I if I click on this, I guarantee you they're going to be number one. Let's just see here. Okay, so Fellow Up was not actively live. I bet ClickUp for sure is going to mention themselves as that number one option. Let's see. Let's So of course, best task management software. We come down here. We have an entire list of all of the competitors in ClickUp's market, and then you come down to number one. They're listing themselves as that best in the overall category. I can't show you my client data, but I can tell you based on the data that I have seen that these pages always convert really well. So in the case of shying away from your competitors, please don't. There is almost unlimited potential that you can go after here, especially in the case of alternative content. I can't show it to you, but I will say from one of my clients, if you look in their Google Analytics profile and if you look at the top 10 pages that are driving conversions for their website, specifically from SEO, it's just alternative content. There's at least 7 within the top 10, and the next are going to be pricing and then their product pages. So these pages work. You just have to convince yourselves to go after them. I know some people are against mentioning their competitors, but that's why I'm listing it off as a mistake. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is just putting way too much weight into a keyword research tool. This is probably the cardinal sin right here. For all of the SaaS companies I work with, and honestly, SEO in general, people put way too much weight into keyword research tools, thinking it's going to be your best solution, thinking like if you go after a keyword that's going to have a high search volume, then that's the keyword that we obviously want to go after. People think in terms of clicks and they don't think in terms of conversions. And when you think of traffic, in the case of traffic is going to be a vanity metric for us. We have no way to tell that traffic is actually going to convert. If I show you a graph of a website completely taking off in terms of traffic, you have no idea if that traffic is actually qualified or if that traffic actually has an intent to convert. Even if you get 100,000 clicks, if none of them convert, what's the point of it? There's not as much monetary value that you can get out of that traffic. As long as they convert in some way, that's all we really care about. So even if your website's not getting any traffic, as long as you're getting conversions from the traffic that you are getting, that's really all that matters. And I think the thing that most companies get mixed up on is just thinking that search volume is going to equal conversions. I think they don't think in terms of conversions and they only think in terms of traffic. So if you're looking at a keyword like what is project management, yes, the search volume is nearly 3 times higher than what we have for the next keyword. But if we were to rank for a topic like what is project management, are we really going to see any value from that keyword? If someone's typing in what is project management, do they have any intent to convert? Or are they just looking into what project management actually is? They have shown no interest in our product whatsoever. So yes, we can get traffic from that keyword, but is that a keyword I'd probably want to prioritize first? Probably not. So what you will want to do in most cases, and this is going back to my very first point, is you really want to align your content with the topics that actually will have conversion intent. Yes, you can use search volume to validate those ideas and get an idea if people actually are searching for them, but it really shouldn't be your guiding metric there, especially in the case of finding content topics specifically that are going to drive conversions. Usually the keywords that have less search volume are actually going to have more conversion intent and less competition at the same time too. If someone's looking up almost every single case it's going to be an informational type of keyword, like they're just looking for a quick definition and really not going to take anything any further. But if you look up how, usually those are going to be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, they are going to be a little bit more product specific. How to use Teams for project management, how to use Trello for project management, that could also be a good competitor topic right there. If for whatever reason Trello is like, if you're Asana and you create an article, oh, how to use Trello for project management, you can show the reader exactly how you can use Trello for project management while also calling out some of the negative features that Trello has. And that's of course when Asana comes in and they're basically like, hey, Trello can't do this, we can do this though, so why don't you consider us here? But those are going to be more competitor related. They will have good conversion intent, but probably not the ones I would want to consider at this point, especially if we're looking for a middle of funnel topic. But I think this would probably be a good one right here. How to use a smart sheet for project management. If you're Asana and you see someone's looking up how to use a smart sheet for project management, you can show them how to use a smart sheet for project management, but then you can also show them a nice alternative that they can use that will be so much easier than using a smart sheet. Those are the few mistakes that I usually see companies make. I guess just to recap real quick, really, it's just not mentioning your competitors. under optimizing your content, over optimizing your content, and then just putting way too much value into the search volume of these keywords that you want to go after. So, really, best advice I can give you is map out the journey that your audience takes. Understand every single touch point that they're likely to take and categorize them based on where they are in their journey. Do they understand that they have a problem? If they understand they have a problem, they understand that your solution exists. If they understand that your solution exists, do they understand that you are one of the better value products? Basically, when you're creating your content roadmap, just figure out a way to map those topics within those categories. And if you do that, you're going to be good to go.